Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport. My name is Dan Davis, and I'll be bringing you all the action live here at Silverstone, the home of British Motorsport, for the next round of the SimPlay Motorsport GT4 Championship. And like I said, we are live here at the home of British Motorsport of Silverstone for the fifth round of our season. And what an exciting night's worth of racing we have for you guys here this evening. The GT4 are hotting up, and something that's been adjusted and altered to the championship as well for a little guidance for the drivers. Obviously, this is very new to me. I only found out about 10 minutes ago and wasn't told about this information. But as you can see by the names of the numbers of the drivers, they have different coloured boxes next to them now. So we have obviously the white, silver and red boxes. Each of them have been allocated to a different class. So the drivers now going to understand what type of drivers they're going to be racing against. So obviously the top class being white will be the gold class. So usually the top guys from Pro will be in this category. Then we got the silver class, which are the guys that are primarily in that Pro-Am category. And then obviously you have the bronze class, which is the red boxes. And they're the guys who tend to be more towards the back of the championship. So there's a new rundown of what we have here available for the guys to kind of give them a bit more motivation and understanding of who they're racing against. But like I said, we are live here at Silverstone, and let's have a quick rundown of this fantastic circuit. 3.6 miles long and 5.8 kilometers long. The number of corners around here is 18, 8 to the left, 10 to the right. Pole position starts on the right hand side, and the ACC lap record around here is a 156.1. That was done by the Ford Mustang. And the most successful driver around this circuit is none other than our young boy Joseph Bates, who is the most successful. He has had 3 wins and 2 pole positions here. So that's a rundown of this iconic and brilliant circuit that is Silverstone. And now we focus primarily on what is happening here tonight on the circuit. The way GT4s work, so we have a feature and a sprint race. And first things off, we will start things off with the sprint race. And at the minute, these guys are currently going through their practice session. They've had about an hour's worth of practice session. Then we will go straight into the reverse grid sprint race, reverse of the championship. And I said these guys will get a better understanding of who they're racing with these new colours put in place, so they can judge a little bit better. So in the sprint race, there'll be 20 minutes flat out from nice to flag. Obviously, they will have to do mandatory pit stop. They will have to add 1 litre worth of fuel, and that should be about 25 seconds. If they do plan to add tyres to the car, then that's going to give them an additional 5 seconds on top of that. Once then the sprint race is completed, then we will go into a short 10-minute break where the drivers will give themselves a chance to grab a drink and grab themselves a break so that they can relax and be ready for the feature race. Then we go into a 5-minute qualifying session. 1 lap dash around this circuit, and with the lap times that we're doing just in the 2 minutes, they're only probably going to get 2 laps if they're one of the first ones out. So we'll see how these boys get on here. So then they'll have that 5-minute qualifying session. That will determine the grid. And then as that grid is set up, we will then go to the feature race, which is a 45-minute race with a mandatory pit stop as well, halfway stage of the race. And again, they'll have to add at least 1 litre worth of fuel. That is the only requirement, but they do have the option to add tyres if they like. We've got a beautiful sunny day here at Silverstone. Obviously, we're just coming out of winter, heading into spring, thinking that we're going to have still the rough weather of winter. But here at Silverstone, we've got beautiful sunshines, optimum temperature at the minute. Track is at optimum as well. 16 degrees air temperature, and track is at 22 degrees. So a nice little race pace kind of settings to the circuit. Guys, if you haven't done so, then please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. And if you do want to be a part of the action, then head over to the Sim Grid and get yourself signed up to the channel and a part of our league. Join in with the Discord and join in with all the chat and what's going on here on the channel. So these guys just said they're coming to the end of their session. And let's have a quick listen through of what the championship standings looks like. The man at the top at the minute is the man leading the championship. Lexi in the chat, good evening. SimPlay Nation, nice to see you in the chat, Lexi. It is O'Reilly leading the way, 3 points ahead of Turok in second place position. Both of these guys at the top of the session at the minute with that weight on board. Then it's still sat in that third place position ahead of Clouden. Fourth is Friedman and sixth is Duffin after a very strong run at Bathurst. Hooper is in seventh place while McGowan sits in eighth. Ninth is Hibbs and 10th is Carlos. 11th is Goudet. Well, in 12th is Skunky, 13th is Stardog, 14th is Ramsel, and 15th is Fraser O'Brien. 16th is Matt Wright. Hunt in 17th place position, Unsworth in 18th, and Millington in 19th. Taylor in 20th, while Old Sim Races in 21st. Cummings is 22nd, and 23rd is Johnson. 24th is Fernie, and 25th is Aberdeen. 26th is Tipping, with Vesely sat in 28th. 29th is Smith, with Rook in 30th, Leach in 31st, Archer 32nd, and Marsden in 33rd, Klarbel in 34th. With the Jackal will be meeting us in the second part of this session in current 35th position. 36th is Betterston, 37th is Wheel, and Marshall bringing up the rear in 39th position. Regarding the teams, it's looking like this. MSA leading the way with quite a healthy gap of 98 points ahead of Greasy Bandits Racing. Unknown Racing sat in P3, while Old School Racers sat in P4. P5 is SimPlay Racing, while P6 is Quantum Motorsport, while P7 is Cam Racing. Piston Pumpers in 8th, while in 9th is Blunt Force Racing. Let's have another driver while we are going through the order. We haven't seen Millington for a bit. Blunt Force Racing currently in 9th with Piston Pounders in 10th. Team Tom in 11th, while in 12th is Road Runners Motorsport. 13th is Audio Sport. 14th is Star Wolf Racing. 15th is RB GT Team. Old Kit Racing in 16th. And Lex Industries Racing in 18th place position. And that is your championship standings here at the GT4 category. And in the chat we have Tracy. Hi Dan, long time no chat, hope you're well. Go on Sky. And yes, Sky Shundamai has come into the session tonight, and he is running a Porsche, normally known for having the Aston Martin, but he is back in the Porsche for this one, kind of looking to stay an all Porsche car choice, I think, this season. Obviously, he runs the Porsche in the GT3s, and he's in the Porsche once again. But it's O'Reilly setting the pace at the minute, top of the session with Tordok, in that P2 position. Then it's McGowan in P3, and P4 is Clouden. P5 is Carlos. Skunky in P6, Stilth in P7, Wright in P8, and Shundermeyer in P9. Hibbs in P10, and that rounds off your top 10. While I'm at it and talking about the chat, have a look in the description below so you can join our fantastic sponsors that are Design Manchester and Audio Sport as well. Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing, and much more, including SimPlay merchandise. Also, Audio Sport, Volkswagen of T4 Audio Solutions, styling products. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk. Fun fact: the red stripe on my /livery car is a homage to when we ran the red black in Project Cars 2 days. And where is Lexi? There she is. She is can't quite see the car, but she is in the pit lane there, so we'll have a look at that livery a little bit later on. But PN in the chat, good evening all to him as well. But good evening to everyone as well, and we are looking forward to another exciting night's worth of racing here tonight. Who do we think is going to be the one to beat tonight? Dan McLaren looking very strong at the minute as they just finished the end of their sessions. Everyone watching, hit that like button, help out the channel. Thank you very much, Tracy. It's great to see you back in the chat, and it's great to have everyone in the chat as well. So let's hear from you guys tonight. I want to hear as much as I possibly can from all of you. That would be absolutely splendid. So there is a car currently, that's the 313. That is Gary Leach. He's managed to make it into the server. And I was hoping to go on board with someone for a lap around this fantastic circuit. But sadly, I'm not going to be able to. So, obviously, most iconic corners here. We obviously got Copse, Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel Curve, the Hanger Straight, Stowe, Vale, Club, then the Hamilton Straight, Abbey, Farm Curve, Village, the Loop, Aintree, Wellington Straight, Brooklands, Luffield, and Woodcote. Obviously, the way ACC works is that we use the old pit lane. I was messing around with Project Cars 2 the other day, and actually when you go into Project Cars 2, you actually go on the normal GP loop. So it's a shame that ACC don't allow us to do that, but either way, this is what we have, and we're just coming to the end of the session. I believe it is just there's just Jamal Clouden, and he comes into the pit lane. Obviously, I ain't got no fancy graphics tonight for the reverse grid, so I'm going to have to read it out as we go along. So as the drivers get going, we will read them as we go. That said, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you do not miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. Make sure you tune in for the rest of the week, as Lexi will be bringing you all the action for the Pro-Ams tomorrow night, and they'll be hitting the circuit. It looks like we're meant to be having beautiful weather all week, so actual proper frosty in the real world, but obviously the game we're still learning to adjust to try and get them as lower temperatures as we possibly can. But in this case, 17 degrees, 23 track temperature. It's going to still be a good race nonetheless. But yeah, make sure you hit that like button and do all those fancy things. Have a look at our social media as well. We are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter as well, so give them all a like and follow to them as well. 30 seconds before we can get ourselves underway and ready doing the formation lap. So we got a couple of drivers at the front of the grid. I will get a poll going for who you think will be winner of the sprint race. And the idea of these sprint races is to give an opportunity to drivers that wouldn't necessarily have an outright chance of winning straight up. So this is a great opportunity for them to try and win here. Well, as trying to tap away here, and I can't seem to figure out where buttons go where. So Lexi now will lead them away as we will start the formation lap, and I will get a poll going on who you think will win here for the sprint race. Obviously, if you don't agree with whatever I type in, then feel free to put your own opinions in the chat. Everyone back to their normal liveries after a beautiful mark out last time out at Bathurst. And if you didn't see them, please head back and have a look at the Bathurst stream, because it was beautiful to see all the drivers supporting a fellow driver. There's the sprint race poll. Whoever you think is going to win this one, then feel free to vote on that one. If you think anyone else otherwise, then obviously write your name in, write the name in the chat. And I know for 100% sure who Tracy's going to be voting for, and that's going to be Sky Shondermeyer, for sure. I know she always does. So let's have a look through at our grid order tonight. We have got Alexi starting on pole position here, with Betterston starting alongside. Then we've got Gary Clark starting in P3 with Marsden in P4. Archer will start in P5 with Gary Leach in P6. P7 is R. Smith with Vesley sat in P8, tipping in P9, while in P10 is Aberdeen. Steve Lee says, hey guys, safe racing, go fast, don't crash, with a wink face in the chat. And Tracy saying, of course, Sky. Aberdeen starting in 10th with Old Sim Racer in 11th. Then we got Dan Taylor in 12th with Fernie starting in 13th. We got Unsworth in that 14th place position. He's going to be joined by Stephen Millington in 15th. Then we got Matt Wright in the Alpine starting in 16th. While alongside him will be a Robert Ramsell in that 17th place position. Then we got Skunky in 18th place position in the Mercedes-Benz. Stardog in the fellow Mercedes-Benz starting 19th. Carlos in the Porsche will start in 20th. Then we got Hibbs in 21st. With McGowan in 22nd, Duffin in 23rd, while Hooper is in 24th position. Silth will start in 25th place. Clouden in 26th, with Tordock in 27th. O'Reilly 28th. Sky Shondermeyer to the back. and Friedman in 30th place position. I'm not sure if that was actually Friedman's true position, but nonetheless, that is where he will be starting for this race in the sprint. Like I said, if you think anyone else in the chat, then let's hear from you guys. Come on, let's hear some chat. Let's hear from you, as it is going to be a long night worth of racing, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be impact, and I'm certainly looking forward to this one. As they now come through the middle sector, and a reminder as well, coming up in May, bank holiday weekend is our charity race, the 24 hours of the Nordschleife. Ourselves and Team FBR coming together, uniting as one to take on a challenge of the Nordschleife in our challenge of stopping cancer as well. So we'll be raising money towards a cancer research, and that's leading the way of Paul Williams. So get yourselves around and in the server, ready to know what is happening for that event. More news will be coming out about it very, very soon. But I do know for a fact that it is bank holiday weekend. It's the weekend in May where it's all going to go down. Drivers now get themselves in a 2x2 formation. Alpine and Ginetta on the front row. This is very much a power circuit, and we've got a lot of slower cars. Referencing the Ginetta and Alpine, not the strongest in a straight line, towards the front of the grid. Let's see how they all survive through Copse. As they now come through the final corner, they go through Woodcut as we now wait for the green here at Silverstone. Round 5 of the season. We wait now for the green. We are racing at Silverstone, and Lexi there not got the best of starts and being absolutely swamped by the pack as they head into turn number 1. And they're all just trying to move and maneuver themselves into Copse, and a lot of cars towards the back of the pack trying to find movements and their way through. But it is going to be Betterson who leads them off as they head down towards Maggots and Beckett's, and through the S's they go. And already Gary Leach gone way off there, having a straight line. A lot of cars off there, a lot of cars spinning, and a lot of cars everywhere. Look at that, we go to the helicopter can and we can see McGowan's involved in that and a few others as well. But nonetheless, they have managed to negotiate themselves through it. But Lexi, though, in that, I think it's P3 at the minute, as the two Ginettas of Klarbel and Betson are going at it. Sky Schondelmeyer has got himself a drive-through penalty already, so not a great start for him. But it's Klarbel who now leads the way, the 181, as he goes towards the start straight of the Hamilton Straight. Gary Leach now onto the back of Marston, and this is where the Mercedes-Benz should get a little bit more grunt to the rest of them, who at the back of the pack seems to make the most moves. It has been Jamal Clouden, and he's now making a move on Robert Ramsell, but with him is, I believe, Carlos. Yes, it is. So Carlos going with these guys. Carlos looking to go around the outside of Abbey, but can't quite get it done there as they then head in towards the farm curve. Ramsell still holding it strong on Clouden there, so Clouden not getting it as easy as he likes, and he has to get full back into formation. Meanwhile, Klarbel pulling away from Betterson, and I think, yeah, we have Lexi who's had a moment. She's trying to get going once again, and she is doing so. But it's a shame for her, she's dropped down the order. But it's Klarbel, Betterson, from Leach, from Archer. He's under attack from Smith here. Smith's going to send it up the inside. Is he going to get the job done? Yes, he is. But Archer's going to try and keep it strong on the outside, but he can't do so. Fernie, meanwhile, on the move and is onto the back of the Chevy Camaro. Vesely, meanwhile, dropping down the order quite rapidly as the top guys are really struggling to actually work their way through this order at this stage. Where is Duffin? There he is. He's already got O'Reilly, Silth, Tordok, Friedman, Hibbs and Taylor all breathing down his neck, and a lot of drivers with a bit of damage. But Klarbel says fastest lap, he's already getting himself a warning for track limits, as now we go on board with Gary Leach, who's now onto the back of the Ginetta of Betterson as we head down towards Maggots and Beckett. And there you can see there the Leach does not have the confidence. We go back on Fernie because he's looking to make a move on the back of Archer. Archer just struggling in that Chevy Camaro at the minute. You can see the car bouncing like mad, and you can see how much a greater run that Fernie got there. He had to lift though, he had to get off the power. as they now head down towards the main straight. Over the head cam we go as they work their way down towards Stowe. Other fights going on. Duffin's lost out to O'Reilly there as they all head into the fast-flowing corner of Stowe. Marsden, now there we see Fernie makes the move on Archer, and job done for him. Now Archer's under a little bit of pressure from Marsden. Now he's going to look to the outside. Oh, he brushes to the side of the Chevy Camaro, but gets away with it. Any other moves coming into the chicane? We've got a whole gaggle of cars, and I think that's been led by Skunky. Yes, it is. So Skunky has made some decent places there, and he's ahead of Unsworth. He's got O'Reilly, Duffin, and Herbert there as well, and they're all trying to get themselves. Oh, as we see there, O'Reilly and Unsworth getting very close to one another, but they managed to negotiate through there. Meanwhile, Leach has now done Betterson, and he moves up a position. He's now trying to chase down Clarball towards this race. Can Gary Leach get himself on the podium here? Can he win this race? As you see in the chat, Steve Lee, oh my goodness, go Gary, 181. He's okay, Gary Clarball. I just remember there's a Gary Leach who's 313. And Gary Clarball. So Gary trying to pull away as best he can. Hello everyone, I just tuned in at the right time. Hornet's Nest says Mac in the chat. But there in the background we see Ramsell going to try and send it up the inside of Old Sim Racer, and looks like he's going to get the job done on the inside of Brooklands. He's then going to be on the outside of Luffield, going to go all the way around the outside, but Old Sim Racer keeps the position. Here comes Skunky now. He wants a bit of the action. And more importantly, O'Reilly wants to get involved as well. The McLaren driver looking to the outside of Cops. This is a brave move if you can get a job done. Towards Cops we go. O'Reilly versus Skunky. They go side by side into Cops, and job done. Around the outside he goes. No, he goes wide. He's going to lose time and momentum, and they're going to get very close. Duffin's interested in all of this as well, while the rest of the pad try and sort themselves out, and they negotiate themselves back into order. Herbert, meanwhile, sending it on Silt, and you can see the MSA boys really fighting with one another. Tordok in Silt as well, and Will Friedman coming alongside as well. Some great action in the mid-pack at the minute. But O'Reilly is the man on the move there. He's now got past Ramsell and Skunky. He goes straight to defend instantly to stop the Aston Martin to get a run on him. Meanwhile, Gary Leach has their fastest lap of the race, and it's Gary versus Gary. Grabel versus Leach here, and Betson still trying to stay ahead of Smith and Fernie at the minute. Marston there keeping Jamal Clouden. He's had a great start. He's already up into 7th place position, I want to say. When the timing screen's all up to date, we will find out exactly where they are at. But the pit window has opened, and we've already got a car in pit lane. That is Johnson in pit lane, and Sky still yet to do his driver. And look at this gaggle of cars. We got on board with Sky, and he's got a whole gaggle of cars. There goes Skunky. I think he's gone off. So he's been involved in a bit of a scrap here, but he's now attacking, I believe that is Taylor that Sky is on the back of. Unsworth is there. Then we see just up ahead Friedman getting through there, and we see also McGowan just making a move on right. So a lot of fights happening up and down the order. And now we got Duffin attacking Vesey. BMW versus Mercedes-Benz. That BMW should start being in its legs back up once again, but Duffin already has the inside, and job done. Global though ahead of Gary Leach, pulling away. Fernie ahead of Unsworth. Carlos onto the back of Clouden, but everyone else pretty spread out at the minute. We'll go back down to this fight with Sky. He's been working his way up the order. He's got Dan Taylor done, and he's opting to pit straight away. So a lot of drivers using this opportunity to come into pit lane and get some clean air and get their pit stop start. And I say that there's a whole gaggle of cars in, and I think those who pitted are going to hurt themselves with that. There's a lot of cars in pit lane. Leach, meanwhile, in that P2, possibly trying to go for a win. He hasn't had one in a fair amount of time, and they all work their way through Maggott and Beckett. So at the minute, no real fights now after all that, as we go back on, actually on board with Wright. He's on the back of McGowan, so he's going to try and make some moves on McGowan as best he possibly can, but at the minute he's in the tow. The Alpine not the strongest in a straight line. As you see some of the lights that go green. Chris Dane's in the chat. Get your foot down, Matt. Well, he won't be doing very much getting his foot down because he's currently in pit lane. 75, that is a Betterson. Stop and go for speeding in the pit lane. and it's a real awkward pit lane at that, so such a shame for him. But it's Clarbo ahead of Leach. That's 1.2 is the gap, and they pulled well away from Fernie, who's got Jamal Clouden breathing down his neck now. We go on board with Fernie, and you can just see the row of cars behind him. And it's actually Carlos who's actually giving Jamal Clouden a bit of a hard time at the minute. That Porsche driver looking mighty at the moment. Oh, as we see there, I think who was that? That was Smith. He goes a bit deep, and then all of them get caught up in all that. So Smith there making a slight mistake, but here comes Jamal Clouden, the straight line of the Chevy Camaro. He chooses to go to the outside, and he's going to try and get the job done on the outside of Brooklands to try and have the inside of Lutfield, but he won't have that, and Fernie does a brilliant job in defending. And we've got a lot of people in the chat. Nice to see you all. There's Mark Tilley's in the chat saying, go on, righty. And Fernie pits. So that's just giving now Clouden clean air as the two Garys lead the way at this stage of this race. Meanwhile, the pitters have now come out. Betterton ahead of O'Reilly, ahead of Smith, old sim racer. Hooper ahead of Silth, Vestley, and Duffin ended up dropping down the order quite a bit there. Skunky obviously repairing his damage as well. So a lot of drivers, especially Matt there, losing out quite badly there. So I don't know sure what happened to Matt there. But it's Clarble ahead of Leach. And they're just slowly trying to build that gap as best they can. And I think Clarble now just seems to be having the edge on him. Meanwhile, here comes Carlos versus Clouden. So Clouden must have had a poor run through the S's. And let's go on the helicopter cam as we are on board with Jamal Clouden and Carlos up the inside of Stowe. He's going to go a little bit wide, but he will try and keep the position. Clouden tries to go up and underneath, but he's going to be on the outside going towards Vale and into Club. He's going to be on the outside of Vale. He's going to try and get the front turn in. He's going to have the inside for Club, and there's nothing Carlos could do. And through goes Clouden. Job done to him. He hangs onto that position, but as these two are too busy fighting, they are losing touch to the two Garys in front. And with all those pits up said and done, Fernie has ended up behind old sim racer, I think that is. Yes, it is. So O'Reilly's jumped a lot of cars. Unsworth, yeah, so O'Reilly has ended up the lead pitter here. And what a great strategy again from Kieran O'Reilly, and working his way to the front. Gary Clarble for Prime Minister. I'm pretty sure he'll do a better job than our current Prime Minister. Meanwhile, Clarble has lost a lot of time, or Leach has gained a lot of time here. He's now onto the back of the leaders. Meanwhile, we go back to Smith, Ramsell and Friedman. As Friedman now looking to try and make a move on Ramsell. He goes to the outside. He tries to swoop underneath. He's going to have to try and go the long way around the outside of Luffield he goes. And Smith comes diving into this. So does Friedman. And this is an opportunity where they can get themselves out of the dirty air and try and get the overcut done. Other fights happening out on track. We've got Old Sim Racer on the back of Fernie. Well, he was ahead of Fernie, so Fernie's got back ahead of Old Sim Racer here. Other fights that are on, we got Marsden and McGowan. Aberdeen has done his pit stop. Skunky's there. I'm not sure what's happened to Schundelmeyer. There he is. So obviously he's done his stop and go, but he's now coming into the pits. So everyone's still relatively close to one another, as they all try and get themselves into some form of racing order. Tordop, meanwhile, opted to carry on through and just bring the gap down to a couple of guys. But O'Reilly at the minute is in the pound seat. He is the leading pitter as we come down the main straight now. Anyone gone green? Jamal Clouden has gone green, and he has come off the limiter. So does Leach. So there is Clouden. Where is O'Reilly? There he is, just in the foreground. And that is how close that has come down. So O'Reilly at the minute scoring some decent points now for his championship campaign. And Jamal Clouden goes towards the long straight of the hangar straight and trying to catch up to Gary Leach as much as he possibly can. That gap has come down ever so slightly. It was 7 seconds. What's the gap now between them? 3.6. So the gap has come down. So Carbo now has to think about pitting. So does Carlos and Ramsel. Tordok as well. These are guys that are still yet to pit. But we go back to this fight of Hooper, Fernie, Old Sim Racer, and in the middle of that as well is Smith. Friedman luckily has cleared all of these cars. And he is no longer in the firing line. He has cleared them. He can now go and chase after O'Reilly as best he can. Mac in the chat saying GT4s are never boring. Great stuff, everyone. Yes, indeed, they are brilliant. Tordok, once he's now got clean air, has set fastest lap of the race. A reminder as well, these GT4s, we don't run the bot for the GT4s. They run a ballast, success ballast. Oh, Hooper there, trying to send it up the inside of Old Sim Racer. He gets the job done. Into Village and into the loop he goes. Job done there for Hooper. He's made a position, but O'Reilly now is onto the back of Jamal Clouden, and the gap opens up for Leach. So everyone else relatively spread out. Duffin's now onto the back of Millington. All we got here is Sky Shundermeyer going side by side with Lexi. Lexi defends the inside of Village. And Sky's going to have to go the long way around, and through the inside goes Sky Shundermeyer. Job done for him, and another position gained for him. And Jamal Clouden and O'Reilly going at it once again. Is he going to try and go around the outside of Cops? Once again, he's not far enough alongside the GT4 of the Chevy Camaro. And as we see them getting close, Ramsel's got to drive through. After a great pit stop, he's got to drive through. And O'Reilly's going to go around the outside of Maggotts and Beckett's. Clouden's going to try and keep his nose there, but he is not able to keep with the McLaren driver. And job done there for O'Reilly. He has made the job complete. Meanwhile, Hooper has cleared Fernie now. Who's that as well? That's Torok, I think, in the middle of them as well. As the time try and update. Yes, it is. And Fernie's just dropping down the order bit by bit. And a big mistake there from him. But it is Gary Leach leading the way ahead of Gary Klarbel, with Carlos in third, O'Reilly fourth, Clouden fifth, Friedman now in sixth. Smith still ahead of Torok, Hooper, Silth, Fernie, Old Sim Racer, Ramsel, and McGowan as well. Right there, Duffin is currently down in 21st position after a great Bathurst. He's struggling here at Silverstone. And at this minute, that is your running order. Carlos now trying to hunt down the Janetta. And O'Reilly's already dropped Jamal Clouden, and Friedman now trying to get his way. Here comes Tordok around the outside of Farm Curve, but Smith tries to get on the inside of him, but he can't do so. There's Hooper, there's Silth, the 3 MSA. Oh, and Hooper's hit Smith. Hooper has hit the back of Smith. That is all on Hooper there. He's misjudged his braking, and Smith losing out big time. He's dropping down the order massively now. And Hooper gaining a position there due to contact. You see there's Smith dropping down the order even more. He's now managed to get himself into a position where he can just get back into the groove. Meanwhile, Ramsel has got to drive through to serve. O'Reilly, meanwhile, hasn't dropped Jamal Clouden. Jamal's still there. And we go back to the front where Carlos has brought the gap down. He has brought the gap down to Gary Klarbel. And we go on board with the Janetta drive, and you can see the Porsche has got so much more confidence. He's able to chuck it into corners. But Carlos at the minute can't find a way. He's flashing the lights, pointless flashing, mate. He's entitled to defend his line. And Gary Klarbel doing everything right at the minute. We go back to the head cam. And at the minute, Klarbel defending brilliantly. And Carlos is going to send it up the inside, going into Stowe. He's already done this once, I believe, on Jamal Clouden, but he's not going to get the job done here on Klarbel, I don't think, because Klarbel's still alongside. He's going to keep his nose in. No, he's already got the job done before he got to Vale. But Gary Klarbel trying to keep his nose in, but he's going to lose out in club. Can Carlos, with 2.1 seconds to Gary Leach, can he do anything about the Leach man, who's always been quite good at Silverstone, and he's leading the way here at the minute. O'Reilly's now joined the club. He is on to the back of Clark was at a moment through Abbey, and that's going to give O'Reilly a great opportunity. He's going to be on the outside of Village, though, and can't work his way through there. Friedman, meanwhile, is onto the back of Jamal Clouden. O'Reilly's trying to go around the outside of Clarball, but Clarball sits on the apex, and he has to think better of it. But that McLaren already pulling, and through he goes. Clarball goes wide. They're side by side, but the straight line advantage of the McLaren will help him out massively. And now Clarball is being swamped by the leaders in the championship as O'Reilly goes through, and now it's Jamal Clouden's turn. What other fights are going on at the minute? We've got Wright, Old Sim Racer, and McGowan going at it. McGowan got a little bit of damage. These two have been going out for a while. McGowan stops Wright coming through. Any other scraps as well? None that I can see. They're really close. So we'll go back to your leader, which is Gary Leach, who's pulling away from Carlos, but it's 1.8 the gap. I think he's going to run out of time as O'Reilly pulls away from Clarball. He's busy. He's got Jamal Clouden and Friedman breathing down his neck. Look at Clouden here. He's having to stop Friedman coming through. Friedman looking left, looking right, and he can't find a way through. Oh, Jamal really trying to find the nose in there, but he's not close enough. Jamal Clouden losing momentum, losing grip, and it's going to make him vulnerable to Friedman, I think. Meanwhile, the gap, 1.1, is the gap between Leach and Carlos. So that gap has come down. Clouden looking up the inside of Stowe, but he's not far enough alongside. Not going to happen there, but Clarball's gone wide. He keeps his foot in, though. Old Sim Racer still defending from McGowan and Wright, but at the minute, that's staying a bit stale. But Clarball there, and Clouden's made a mistake. He's gone deep. Friedman's going to go around the outside of Club. Is he going to do a Lewis Hamilton and get both of them? No, he's not. He's just going to get Jamal Clouden. These two side by side going towards Abbey. This is going to be brave. Oh, how they don't make contact there. Will Friedman's got a great run here. An absolute beauty of a run. Clarball has to defend as best he possibly can. Oh, Friedman nearly making contact to the back of Clarball. Absolute brilliant stuff here. Oh, they make contact. Meanwhile, we go on board with Leach. He's only got 1 sector to go, and Carlos has hunted him down to 0.6 of a second. Into the final few corners here. Brooklands, then into Luffield, and then Woodcut, and Gary Leach is home and dry. Oh, the driver that's had to change his race number, known for the 131, now the 313. Gary Leach exits the final corner and wins at Silverstone for round 5. Carlos in second, O'Reilly will be third. Gary Clarball hangs on to P4 with Friedman in 5th, Clouden in 6th, Tordock in 7th, Hooper in 8th, Silth in 9th, Fernie making a top 10 appearance for him. That it is going to be McGowan from Old Sim Racer, from Wright, from Hibbs, Marsden in 15th, Taylor in 16th, 17th is Smith, 18th is Unsworth, 19th is Duffin, Millington for 20th, Stardog in 21st, Vesely is going to come home for a 22nd position, Ramsell in 23rd, Schundelmeyer coming in with a drive-through and a pit stop. He finishes in 24th. Alexi is going to finish, I believe, in 25th position. She is indeed. My voice is gone. Brilliant racing there. Lexi comes home for 25th position. Skunky for 26th. Tipping 27th. Betterson 28th. Archer 29th. Aberdeen 30th. And Johnson in 31st. Wow, what a dramatic race that is. But it is this man who takes the sprint race win. Gary Leach wins the race here from Carlos from O'Reilly. We'll be back in a few moments' time as we will have a quick break, but we'll be jumping straight into qualifying, and we'll determine the grid for the feature race. Yeah, from us for a minute, we'll be right back. Grab yourself a drink, and we'll see you in a few moments' time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport, and we are underway now for qualifying session here at Silverstone for the fifth round of the season, and the championship standings have hottened up as I just refreshed them up. O'Reilly still leads the way with Tordog now in second place position, with Clouden in third place position, still in P4, Friedman P5, Hooper in P6, Duff in P7, P8 goes the way of Carlos, P9 is McGowan, Hibbs is in that 10th place position with 11 going away of Goudet, Wright is in 12th, with Skunky in 13th, with 14th of Stardog, Ramsell 15th, with O'Brien in 16th, Leach in 17th after that win, with Hunt in 18th, Unsworth 19th, with Millington in 20th, Old Sim Racer 21st, Taylor 22nd, Fernie in 23rd, Cummings 24th, with Crabble 25th, Johnson 26th, Tipping 27th, Smith 28th, Aberdeen 29th, Vesty 30th, Marsden in 32nd, Rook in 33rd, Archer 34th, with Jackal in 35th, Bettison 36th, while 37th is Wheel, 38th is Marshall, with Shundelmeyer in 39th, and that is your Drivers' Championship standings. Your teams: it is MSA leading the way with 106 points to their name, with Greasy Bandits Racing in P2, Unknown Racing in P3, with Old School Racers in that P4 position, SimPlay Racing in P5, with Quantum Motorsport in P6. P7 is Cam Racing, with P8 going away of Blunt Force Racing. Team Tom is in P9. Piston Pumpers P10, Piston Pounders in 11th, Road Runner Motorsports P12, Autosport 13th, Star Wolf Racing 14th, 15th, RB GT Team, Old Gear Racing in 16th, 17th is Alexis Industries, and we are going to go on board with Silv for a lap of this beautiful circuit here at Silverstone. So you give yourself a good run up towards Coles, breaking at the 50 board, dropping down a gear and get the front turn in, get gripped up and try and get the best exit you can. Hooper, meanwhile, has invalidated his lap time ahead as they head down towards Maggots and Beckett. Try and swing over to the left, over to the right, and back over to the left again. Trying to keep the flow going through the corners, now hanging down towards the hangar straight. Trying to get within that slipstream of the Camaro ahead, but obviously Hooper there just weaving around as they head up towards Stowe. Just brake before the right-hander and try and get the front to turn in. A little bit of understeer from Silv there as he then goes through a Vale. Hooper going to allow his teammate through. So through goes Silv into Vale, then heading into a Club. Get a good run through Club as you then head it down towards the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight. And as you go past the famous GP straight, you try and get a good run and send it into Abbey. Used to go left, now we're going right and turn in, try and get the power down as best you can into Farm Curve and open it up, ready to hit Village. Heavy braking into the right-hander, get it dropped down the gears, get the front turned in, and then on the power to then head into the loop and once again try and get the front to grip up and get a good exit, run down the main straight and heading down towards the Wellington straight. Good exit through there and heading down to the back end of the circuit into Brooklands, Luffield and Woodcut to finish off. Brake just before the board and dropping down 2-3 gears there for Silv. Get the front, late apex it in as you go through Brooklands into Luffield. Kind of V-shape out, let the car run wide to then bring the front back in, get a good exit out of Luffield and then head towards Woodcut. Once you got Woodcut done, it is then just a straight line to the start finish line. Here comes Silv and the benchmark is going to be a 2 minute 10.4, but we know most of them can go quicker than that, and McGowan has done so. Hooper obviously did invalidate his lap time. So we got Hibbs coming to the line. Skunky now crosses the line. Duffin also. So lap time's coming in. Tordor goes P5. Clouden goes P2. Ramsell is off at the turn 1. Clarble up in P9. He's already been demoted by Stardog, who improves and goes up to P7. O'Reilly not getting a lap time on the board, and that is qualifying done. That is the fun of this one-shot qualifying. Schundermeyer still to put a lap time on the board. Anyone coming to the final corner now? There is Leach, as he is coming through Luffield in towards Woodcut. 29th at the minute. Lap time on the board will easily get him up into the top 15. What's it going to be? Leach goes up into P5. A great lap time there from Leach as you now look for the 24. That is Schundermeyer in the Porsche. Here he comes, 23rd at the minute. And where does that put him? P5. He then takes over Leach's position. The 114, that is Unsworth. Clear track in front of him, no one to bother him, and he comes out of the final corner now. Where's this going to put him? In 12th position. Then we got everyone else heading towards the back end of the circuit, and I believe it is Silth who's going to be the first one to arrive. And there he is. He's got McGowan behind him as well. Then it's Hooper, and then Tordock as well. Oh, and Silth is bailed out of that. He is done for this session. McGowan currently on provisional pole with a 2-minute 9.9. Has he found more time? Is he going to improve? Here he comes now out of the final few corners here. We'll look to Hooper next. As he comes to the start-finish line, McGowan will stay provisional fastest at the minute. Here comes Hooper. He crosses the line and goes PA. Tordock goes fastest overall, and he goes up into that position. 8th goes Hibbs. O'Reilly goes into 2nd, and Tordock's lap time, a phenomenal lap time from him, as Clouden is done. Clarball goes up to P11. Stardog was done. Anyone else coming to the line? There is Millington as well. And that is that. And Tordock takes pole position ahead of O'Reilly, ahead of McGowan. Then it's Clouden, Carlos, Silth, Ramsell, Schundermeyer, Leach, Hibbs, Hooper, Clarball, Stardog, Wright, Millington, Unsworth, Duffin, Vesley, Smith, Skunky, and Archer. The only ones who managed to put a lap time on the board. The rest of the grid will be Tipping, Taylor, Fernie, Old Sim Racer, Marsden, Betterson. There's going to be a Betterson, Aberdeen, Marshall, Friedman, and Johnson, all at the back of the pack. So that is your running order here for the round 5 of the season for the feature race, and it is Tordock on pole position. Reminder as well, some of these guys are carrying ballast, and the ones that are is Tordock. He's currently 35 kilos, while O'Reilly is currently 40. McGowan's got 5, while Clouden's got 25. Silth has got 30 kilos, with Schundermeyer carrying 20 because it's the start of his season. Hooper carrying that 10 kilos, Duffin with 15. And everyone else, there is also Friedman with 30. He's got 20 as well. And then you got myself with 4 because I'm in the Porsche. So that is the grid order. And let's get a vote up for driver for the feature race. Chris Danes in the chat. Seems like a lot of traffic. Are they punished? It seems like a lot of off tracks. They will get warnings, so they'll get initial warning at first, and if they go past the 3rd warning, so if they get a 4th strike, they will get a penalty for that, usually a drive-through. But in qualifying, if they run wide, that's their lap done. If they instantly go off circuit, they will not get that lap will not count. Reminder as well, guys, to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you do not miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. And as I said, make sure you tune in for the rest of the week. We have got some great racing coming up for you guys. We have got Lexi bringing you all the action for the GT3 Pro-Am class. That'll be with you tomorrow night, Wednesday night. Like I said, all the action from Lexi, showing you all the drivers here. And there is a poll for you guys, driver who you think is going to win this feature race. So yeah, Lexi bringing you the action tomorrow night and bringing all the Pro-Am action. sweet and sticky back in your box. That's Matthew Duffin and Kelly Davis bringing you the action for the pro category as well. Obviously, don't agree with who I put in there, then feel free to write whoever you think will win this one. And also, while you're at it, head of a look at our fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sport as well. All their information are in the description below. Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing, and much, much more, including SimPlay merchandise. Over to their Facebook page. Audio Sport, Volkswagen T4 Audio Solutions. The styling products, head over to www.audiosport.co.uk, and there is their Facebook link as well. While you're looking at all those wonderful things, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to be notified. And if you do want to be a part of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport, you like what you see, then head over to the Sim Grid and get yourself signed up to the championship and to our channel and join a part of the Discord. There's loads of conversations that go in and out of the Discord. And also as well, we do have also have a fantasy F1 league that we have put together in the Discord. So if you do want to be a part of that, then head over to the Discord and we can get you in the fantasy F1 league. I've already got my drivers set and ready to go. Make sure I get a good swig of drinks. I think this is going to be just as chaotic as the sprint. Les Fernie, looking forward to a great night of racing. You just missed the sprint there, Les. So hopefully you enjoy the feature. But it is once again Porsche versus McLaren. It is Tordock versus O'Reilly. And who is going to come out on top? That is the question. Get your votes in on who you think is going to win this one as they now get themselves into a 2x2 formation. Helicopter cam, we are ready to go here. We are ready to go racing here at Silverstone for the second time this week. Tordock versus O'Reilly, Porsche versus McLaren. Silverstone, round 5, feature race as we now wait for the green here. We are racing here at Silverstone as we head down towards Copse. Into turn number 1 they go. Tordock gets a brilliant start as he leads in the whole pack into turn number 1. Has everyone else managed to work their way through Copse? That is the question, usually the danger zone, as they now head towards Maggots and Beckett's. Down towards Maggots and Beckett's they go, trying to find their position, trying to find where they all go. And they all managed to do so, and great stuff there. It is Tordock leading the way, no silly incidences as we can see for now. Tordock ahead of O'Reilly, ahead of McGowan, and he's already under pressure from Jamal Clouden and looks to be Carlos as well. So already pressure being given to McGowan, and Carlos going to try and go around the outside of Stowe, and he's trying to keep it pinned. Yes, he is. And Jamal Clouden's going to lose out here, and Silt's going to try and follow Carlos through. As we also got Sky Schondermeyer in the middle of this fight as well. Hooper on the inside, can't quite find a way through, and Gary Leach in the middle of all this as well. But after the first couple of laps here, Tordock through. First couple of corners. McGowan's now pulled away as Carlos has got the job done on McGowan. As you see there, Hooper and Sky Schondermeyer going side by side. And Sky Schondermeyer ends up on 2 wheels there, has to straight line the chicane, and he loses out there to Hooper, and he returns back on track next to Gary Leach. And Gary Leach now holding off Sky Schondermeyer. Here comes Ramsel as well. What else is going on in the pack? We got Skunky working his way up the order. Friedman also with him as well. The two old school racers working their way through the order. And Lexi has got going. Who's at the very back there? That is the number 75. That is Betterson, and he's got major damage to that car. Meanwhile, we got on board with Hibbs. He's under pressure from Ramsel. He's put some pressure on Ramsel, sorry, and Sky's there as well. Whoa. Very close there between Sky and Hibbs and Ramsel there. As Unsworth's in the middle of all this scrapping as well. Oh, Clarble ends up on the dirt. He's got under some threat from Duffin there as they head down towards the S's. Everyone else towards the front has managed to kind of get themselves into a comfortable order as they head towards Cops. Oh, they all run a little bit wide there. But Sky Schundermeyer now putting Ramsel under pressure. He can't find a way through there, and it's going to have to fall back into formation. We look to the front. Tordog was under pressure from O'Reilly. That was 3/10 to gap. McGowan's going with them as well, and Carlos is trying to stay with him. So basically, the top 8 have all kind of got themselves into a nice order, and it's then down towards Ramsel and Sky Schundermeyer is where the fights start to happen. And Sky under a little bit of pressure here from Unsworth. Unsworth's going to send it up the inside. He thinks better of it. Meanwhile, behind him, we got Duffin going past Clarble, and Clarble losing out there to Matthew Duffin. And position gain for him. Matt Wright trying to find his way through the traffic as well. We saw him there just looking up the inside of, I believe, Carble himself. Here comes Friedman through Club. He goes. He's right onto the back wing of the BMW, but can't seem to do anything with that at this moment. Friedman looking left, looking right. He's looking for an opportunity to go through. Meanwhile, Skunky has now done Millington, and around the outside goes Friedman. Job done for him. And I think Duffin's now putting Unsworth under some pressure here. Sky's pulling away from him. And Duffin now starting to get onto the back end of Unsworth. As everyone's got themselves into a lovely... Oh, as we see there, Matt Wright standing up the inside of Clarble. He's going to have to go around the outside of Luffield. Clarable's going to force him wide, but he gives him racing room. Oh, Friedman nearly dropping it behind as well in the Porsche. Is Wright going to try and go all the way around the outside as they head towards Cops? He's got into the side draft. Is he going to try and go around the outside of Cops? No, he's not. Clarable hangs on. Meanwhile, O'Reilly gets within 0.2 of a second of Tordog and says fast slap of the race. So the leaders are getting close. McGowan is going with him. Carlos as well, as Jamal Clouden is the one just dropping off the back of these lot and under pressure from Silth and Hooper. And Gary Leach sticking with them. So Gary's having a great little race here. Hibbs in 9th, Ramsel in 10th, and he's been hunted by Schundermeyer. Unsworth has been passed by Duffin, and Clarble still under pressure here, as Wright has lost out to Friedman here, but they're both attacking. Wright's going to go up the inside of Friedman, but he's not quite far enough alongside. So we see here Friedman pushing Clarble under pressure. He's going to go the outside of Vale. Clarble just keeps his nose there, runs him a little bit wide, and Gary Clarble holds on to the position there. Matt Wright looking for an opportunity himself on Friedman, so Friedman come a little bit compromised due to that run, and he's going to be under pressure heading towards Abbey. It'll be brave if Wright can get it done up the inside of Abbey here. He's going to have a look. No, he hits the brakes and backs out of that one, and right to do so there, I think. What other fights are going on? We've got Millington versus Vesely here. Vesely looking to try and hold off these guys, as we've got Stardog in the background as well. But some great racing here, but it is Tordog still leading the way from O'Reilly, from McGowan, from Carlos. Clouden's just dropped off the top 4 at the minute, from Silth, from Hooper, and then it is Leach from Hibbs, Duffin from Schundelmeyer. And here comes Friedman now, looking to try and make a move on Clarble, but Clarble's putting on a fantastic defence here. Oh, Friedman trying to get the better run, the better exit. Unsworth is just ahead of these guys as well, so they're going to lose out. Meanwhile, Schondermeyer trying to get onto the back of Duffin. Meanwhile, Hibbs is right on the back bumper of Killer Leach as they head towards Cops. And Leach there just hanging on. Duffin under pressure from Schondermeyer, but here comes Freeman heading towards Maggots and Beckett. They go around the outside on the entry. He gets the job done. Now Wright gets right up behind, but Wright's dropped it. He's got too close, too confident, ended up dropping the rear, and into the wall he goes, losing out. Meanwhile, Schondermeyer now on the attack of Duffin. He's in the slipstream. He's in the tow. Matthew Duffin under some pressure here from Sky Schondermeyer. Towards Stowe they go. Sky opting to just wait a little bit longer. Meanwhile, behind them, Friedman has got past Unsworth. And Hibbs is up the inside of Leach as well. So Hibbs looking to get the job done, but Leach will have the inside of Club. And he'll keep hold of that position. He does indeed. And Gary Leach there, keeping the other Mercedes-Benz at bay. Schondermeyer, meanwhile, still pressurising Duffin. The leading group, meanwhile, are completely settled and not worried about absolutely anything. They're getting themselves into a groove and pulling away from this group. Schondermeyer and Friedman now both looking to try and make a move on Duffin as quickly as they possibly can. Skunky has also made some great progress further back. He is now right on the back of Unsworth. He's actually up the inside of Unsworth, so Unsworth possibly had to have a lift or a moment there as he's lost out to Skunky, and Skunky's going to go up the inside, and job done for him. Oh, Sky's had a moment through Brooklands, and he's lost out to Friedman there. So Friedman gains the position. Duffin now going to defend for his absolute might against Friedman. But we go back to the front. Tordok still ahead of O'Reilly. 6/10 is the gap. Carlos and McGowan going with Clouden, still under pressure from Silth and Hooper. But here's Leach and Hibbs. And into Maggots and Beckett they go. Drivers up ahead, kicking up the dirt. Friedman also just as much up the rear as Duffin. Sky just off the back of these lot. He'll try and work his way back onto them. But as Leach is holding up Hibbs, it is allowing Duffin and Friedman to get onto the back of him. Here comes Friedman. He's got to look to the outside. He's switched onto the inside of Stowe. And Duffin's like, nope, you ain't getting me there. You're not getting me through Stowe. But Duffin does run a little bit wide, and that's going to give Friedman an opportunity to look for a way through. No, it's not. So Duffin once again just hangs in there. And like I said, this is just Constantina and all up. And Friedman looking like he's getting a better run here than Duffin. And this is all this is allowing us, allowing Sky to just get onto the back of them once again. There he is. Just a little bit off the back of him, but here's Friedman right underneath Duffin. Meanwhile, Hibbs is attacking Leach. No, he's not. And there goes Friedman. He sends up the inside. Matt tries to get off the brake to try and keep it wider. He'll have the inside for the next corner. And Friedman there, losing out to Duffin. And Duffin holds on, but he's going to have a terrible exit. And now you can see the momentum of the Porsche just a lot better there as Duffin tries to break the toe ever so slightly from Friedman there. Well, Friedman looking up the inside, going into Woodcote, but he can't get the job done. Sorry, Brooklands, I mean. As the pit window will open very shortly. And again, everywhere out towards the front, it is all pretty stale. It is this fight behind Gary Leach, Hibbs, Duffin, and looks like Skunky is now starting to catch Sky a little bit here. Johnson's worked his way up to 19th. What else is going on? We got Archer tipping Marsden. Old Sim Racers under pressure here. He's got Fernie good up the inside, and there's Wright as well. So I don't know how Wright ended up all the way down there, obviously with the damage earlier on, but he's been slowly working his way up the order. And through the inside goes Wright. Job done for him. Meanwhile, Archer is trying to defend from Marston. It's a great racing from those guys there, and Friedman has got past Duffin by the looks of things, but Duffin trying to come back. He's trying to go around the outside of Stowe, but he's not going to get the job done there, and Duffin losing out as Schundermeyer now under pressure from he's been passed by Skunky, so Schundermeyer is going to try and use Skunky now to go with him. There's so much action happening up and down the order. It's hard to keep on track of what's going on. Cloud is now starting to feel the pressure from Silth as Hibbs once again looks for an opportunity up the inside, but can't seem to get far enough alongside, or a good run at least, to have a go at Leach. Schundermeyer trying to stick with Skunky as well. Now Leach runs a little bit wide, so does Friedman and Duffin. They all run a little bit wide through there, and Skunky is going to be the one to benefit from all that, as he now head down towards the Wellington Straight. And Hibbs can't seem to get a run. Friedman pulling away from Duffin there. Has Archer lost out? He has been defending heavily from Marston. Yes, he has. So Marston's got up the inside, as has Fernie. Wright's gone through. He's now under pressure from old Sim Racer, and the Chevy Camaro is in deep trouble here. Meanwhile, Leach still trying to keep Hibbs behind him. Duffin has got past through Friedman again, so Duffin's made the pass on Friedman, and now the two teammates on the back of Duffin. Duffin's made a mistake through Copse. That's going to compromise all three of them, and Duffin trying to defend for his might here. They're going to go side by side into Maggots and Beckett, and Duffin has to yield. Skunky on the back of this group as well. It's a shame Cardwell can't stick with them. The pace of those guys is just a little bit too quick for him at this stage. Meanwhile, Silth is still giving Jamal Clouden a hard time, but just not able to. Gary Leach finally been sent up the inside by Hibbs. Hibbs gets the job done, and Gary Leach is going to have to concede to that place. Is Gary Leach going to try and send up the inside going into Vale, but Friedman does! And contact made! Oh, and Hibbs hits Duffin! Friedman's off, Duffin's off, Skunky's round. Schundermeyer thinks possibly made contact with Skunky, and all the drama has happened behind Gary Leach, and he pulls away. Friedman with damage, Duffin carries on. There's Hibbs. I think Hibbs is trying to... I'm not sure what Hibbs is trying to do, try and readdress himself, but Schundermeyer is the beneficial out of all that. He moves ahead of a lot of drivers there, but he ends up making contact with Skunky, and just looks like a lot of drivers just missing their brakes there. So Tordog still leads the way from O'Reilly and just pulled away ever so slightly with the fastest lap. McGowan stuck with them and not really done anything with them. Carlos has dropped off of them. Clouden has still got pressure from the little Ginetta of Silth, and Hooper, that is your top 7, unfazed, and Gary Leach holding in that 8th place position. We now go back on board with Sky and Duffin. And Duffin on the rear wing of Sky Schundermeyer. Mercedes-Benz had a better run through there. What does Sky do? He goes into the centre of the road. And then up towards Copse they go. Duffin tries to go around the outside of Copse, was never going to get the job done there. But Sky keeps it tucked, keeps it clean. And Duffin's going to have to try and think of another way through. Gary Clarville, meanwhile, watching right behind them. And he's going to try and benefit from all this once again, letting the guys fight it out hard. And he gains the positions. As you see there, Sky and Duffin going at it. Duffin's had a better run through Maggots and Beckett's. Hibbs is now onto the back of Millington, so he's trying to recover as well. Sky going all the way to the right-hand side. Duffin having to go left. And Sky's going to just keep him at bay at the minute. He's going to just run him wide at Stowe. And Duffin can't do nothing about the Porsche driver there as they head towards Vale and Club. He's going to send out the inside of Sky. Sky's going to try and hold it strong so he can have the inside of Club. He's still there. Matt tries to turn in. He's going to go around the outside of Club. Sky's still going to be there. Still going to be on his inside. Duffin runs wide. And they're still side by side heading towards Abbey now. A long queue of cars just ended up behind Sky, and there goes Hibbs. He's gone a bit wide. Is Sky going to try and send up the inside going into Village? He tries to do so. Matt goes a bit wide, and Schundermeyer gets very close. Meanwhile, Millington is attacking Clarball. Yeah, he is just attacking Clarball. Johnson's in the middle of all this as well, but Duffin hangs on for the minute. Sky Schundermeyer in the slipstream. He's going to try and send it into Brooklands. He thinks better of it, backs off. Duffin goes in a little bit deeper, tries to get it turned into Brooklands, but Duffin holds on. Global losing out there. He looks like he's lost out to Millington, Hibbs, Johnson and Stardog. They've all gone around the outside of him, and a lot of the drivers trying to recover here. There's still a lot of cars quite close to one another, but it is Duffin who's decided to pit after all that hard work, has decided to pit and given Sky Schundermeyer that clean air again. Strange that. Strange strategy. So pit window has now opened. But Tordock still leading the way. 1 second between him and O'Reilly. O'Reilly not able to bring that gap down very much. McGowan's actually dropped off quite significantly now. Carlos as well, and Clouden nowhere near these guys. Still within half a second. Hooper in 7th, 2 seconds off, and then Gary Leach in 8th. So your top 8 once again unfazed, with Sky Schundermeyer now in 9th after Duffin opted to pit early there. So Millington now with Hibbs just behind him, Johnson also alongside, and that's pretty much everyone else, as Skunky and Friedman have pitted early as well. So they wanted to get in early, possibly to repair damage and get that clean air. Unsworth, meanwhile, under pressure from right, no move done there. But Sky, I think, he carried quite a bit of damage to the front end of his car. He's just struggling at this moment. Sky Schundermeyer trying to pull away from Millington, Hibbs and Johnson. Stardog's just there as well. Clarball and Ramsell also close to one another. Matt Wright once again gets a sniff opportunity on Unsworth, but he's not quite close enough. Duffin has gone green. He's ahead of Friedman and Skunky. They've got clean air now. What can they do with it? Meanwhile, O'Reilly has brought the gap down to 9/10 of a second. The gap is coming down between the top two. The MSA boys not really had it their own way in GT4s. They've been looking really good in GT3s, but in GT4s they've really had to fight with the likes of O'Reilly, McGowan, Duffin, Clouden, Friedman, and all those guys from the front end of the championship. So they really had to work for this one. Schundermeyer is now in the pits, and I wonder if he's going to be repairing that damage. So now we got some a couple of drivers all just spread out. Duffin is the lead pitter. And what can he do now with this clean air? He's got Sky Schundermeyer. Schundermeyer has gone green as Duffin now comes into the final few corners here. So Schundermeyer opted not to repair the damage, which could benefit him quite a lot. Johnson's gone green as well. Duffin, once again, I think he's going to lose out in the pit stops. Schundermeyer's gone green, and away he goes. So after Duffin cleared Schundermeyer, he's ended up back behind him once again, and I think he's ended up behind... No, Johnson. Where is Johnson? He's now coming out of the pit, so he's only ended up behind Schundermeyer. So Sky staying ahead of Duffin there, but he's got also Friedman and Skunky hunting him down. So Friedman and Skunky have cleared a lot of cars there, which they needed to do. Millington, meanwhile, is under pressure from Hibbs. And Ramsdell is still pressurising Klarbel. And again, not a lot happening at the minute. O'Reilly has decided to pull the plug, and into the pits he goes. Jamal Cloudon's still got Sil breathing down his neck. That little Ginetta can be a nuisance at times. There was that Bathurst where he just didn't have the straight line speed, that little car. And same again here. Meanwhile, Millington coming into the pits, allowing Hibbs to get some clean air. So what is the gap between Schundermeyer and Duffin? It is 7.1. So that's quite a significant gap that Duffin has to bring down to Schundermeyer. Oh, this has been Silver's best opportunity yet, but once again, the straight line advantage of the Chevy Camaro should keep ahead of the Ginetta. Yes, it does. We're at the halfway stage of this race. And poor Silv, and that Ginetta, great in the corners, just got nothing in the straights. And that's allowing Jamal Cloudon just to hang on to these positions. O'Reilly and Hooper come back out on track, and Schundermeyer is only now exiting Luffield, so that shows how much of a gap the leaders had. But it's still on the back of Jamal Cloudon, but can't do anything with that performance. The next closest fight is Johnson and Taylor, as we are waiting for cars to come out of pit lane. We'll see where Gary Klarbel comes out of all this. Millington has come out, and where is he? He's split Schundermeyer and Duffin, so Duffin must have repaired some form of damage and changed tyres, because he's ended up behind Millington, but not Klarbel. Oh, Klarbel's ended up in a right awkward position between Johnson and Taylor. And Taylor, I think, has gone off a little bit. Yeah, he made a little mistake there as they're onto the back of Skunky. And I think Skunky's had his own moment as well. But Friedman is hunting down Duffin as well. So Duffin really seems to be in trouble here at Silverstone. As Torok now bites the bullet, and he comes into the pits. As does Jamal Cloudon by the looks of things. So Cloudon comes in, and once again allowing Silth that free air. Can Silth now use that free air to good? So right now the leading pitters is O'Reilly ahead of Hooper, ahead of Schundermeyer, Millington, Duffin, Friedman, Skunky, Johnson, Klarbel, Taylor, Vesely, Wright, Unsworth, Old Sim Racer, Marsden, Tipping, Smith, Marshall and Betterson. They are your pitters, and we've got more pits coming in now, and this will tighten the grid up even more. This is the closest fight on track at the minute. Johnson, Klarbel and Taylor, but let's come away from that, because here comes Will Friedman now. He has got right onto the back of Duffin. He has to try and clear Matthew Duffin once again. Can Friedman find a way through? That is the question. We've got a lot of greens here. Jamal Cloudon's out, Gary Leach is out, as is Hibbs. Hibbs has jumped Leach, and there is Sky Schundermeyer. He's about to jump Hibbs as well, I think. Or are they? It's going to be tight, but Hibbs hold on to the position, but he's got cold tyres. Schundermeyer's got tyres up to temperature and pressure, and Hibbs has made a mistake. He understeered. He's gone and made a mistake. Is Schundermeyer going to get a good exit out of the corner? Hibbs is squirrely. He's struggling. And Schundermeyer, with fresh, hot tyres, will get the run, but not the straight line that he has on the Mercedes-Benz. He's in the tow. Hibbs defends right over to the right-hand side. And Schundermeyer is not going to get the job done. Meanwhile, Duffin and Friedman are going at it. Friedman's going to try and go around the outside of Duffin, but he can't get the job done there either. Friedman trying to find a way through on Duffin, but can't do so. And Schundermeyer there under pressure now from not one Mercedes, but two. He's got a Leach now behind him. Oh, Duffin's run wide there. That's a mistake there, and that's possibly going to give Friedman a great run towards Abbey, but he thinks better of it. He's just going to sit in the toe, I think. He's going to sit and wait. Johnson, meanwhile, has cleared Stardog, so those guys are close. Friedman with a better run through Abbey. No, Duffin's had a better run through Abbey. Schundermeyer also just trying to bring the gap down to Hibbs, but can't do so. Leach just dropping off the back a little bit. Millington splitting them. And there, Friedman's had a great run through the left-hander going down the Wellington straight. You can see the Mercedes has a little bit more grunt than the Porsche, but the Porsche is probably better on the brakes. And Duffin holds it strong through Brooklands. Duffin fighting hard with Friedman. As there, Leach is now onto the back of Schundermeyer. The window is now closed, so everyone should have been into the pits by now. And through the right, and the Sky's gone wide. Sky's made a mistake, and that has allowed Gary Leach up the inside. Job done. Bob's your uncle. Friedman, meanwhile, has got another run on Duffin. He's going to try and go around the outside of Maggots and Beckers, but things better of it. Backs right off and thinks, I'm going to fight another day. Thank you very much, Duffin. I'm not going to try to do anything daft and silly there. Meanwhile, Carlos has jumped McGowan. Sorry, hang on. Did I just see a car go off? Yes, that was Millington. Millington's made a mistake now. So he's going to get passed by Duffin, and I think he's going to get passed by Friedman as well. So Millington losing out big time here to two cars. But meanwhile, Tordok, 0.6 of a second ahead of O'Reilly, but Carlos is in P3. So he's jumped McGowan. McGowan's lost out. Silter's lost, has got past Clouden, so Clouden has lost out to Hooper. Meanwhile, Schundermeyer losing out to the two Mercedes-Benz. Here comes Leach onto the back of Hibbs. Can he get himself back into 8th place position? And Schundermeyer's with him. There's also Friedman as well, right behind Duffin. Nothing's going to happen there as Hibbs trying to defend from Gary Leach. Gary Leach trying to get a better exit out of the loop. And through Aintree they go. Gary Leach trying everything he can. He's right. Whoa! I think that's a bit of lag there, I think. As Gary Leach nearly goes into the back of Hibbs, up the inside of Brooklands they go, and Gary Leach, job done. Schundermeyer near him, as Friedman's now going to send up the inside of Brooklands. Duffin gives him just about racing room as they go into Luffield. Around the outside goes Will Friedman. Is he going to get the job done? No, he is not, but he is going to get a better exit and better momentum. Leach, meanwhile, getting Hibbs. Now Schundermeyer is going to put pressure onto Hibbs. Friedman having to back off the back of Duffin there, as he got a little bit too close to the back of him. Majority reckon that O'Reilly is going to... What has happened to Tordok? Tordok's made a mistake and he's dropped down the order. Mistake from Tordok, and that gives O'Reilly the lead ahead of Carlos, ahead of McGowan. And Sylph now fighting Tordok. And it's the fight of the Chevy Camaros as Hooper versus Clouden just behind them. So Schundermeyer now also onto the back of Hibbs. Can Schundermeyer find a way through on Hibbs as they come towards Vale? Not close enough this time. Will Friedman not close enough to Duffin. He tries to get a better exit, a better run also. Other fights happening. Ramsdell still defending from Clavel and Taylor. Who else is happening? Fernie and Unsworth. That's a fight going on further back. But some great racing towards the end here. We still got 14 minutes left to go. Let's go back on Schundermeyer. We're trying to get past Hibbs. Hibbs taking a lot of wide exits here, which I think is compromising some of his runs here. Oh, that's Lexi facing the wrong way. And there's Duffin. rear view of Friedman. Trying to find a way around Duffin at the minute, but can't seem to find a way through. Jamal Clouden and Hupert meanwhile going at it side by side as Hupert ran very wide through Copse, and around the outside goes Clouden. Hupert's going to swoop back underneath. It's going to be the outside of Beckett's. Inside then for the next part of the corner, but Clouden holds on to that position. Sky's attack has come off a little bit from Hibbs, and Friedman doesn't seem to be giving as much of a hard time to Duffin at the minute, as Millington under pressure from Skunky. That's how much pace Skunky's at. He started to catch these guys really quickly, and Clark will drop behind Taylor. Fernie, meanwhile, has got past Unsworth, who's gone very, very wide, and they're now onto the back of Vesely. Through the S's they go. And once again, Friedman closer than he's ever been, right up the back of Duffin. Duffin holds on to the inside of Stowe, or Friedman gives him a little bump. Skunky, meanwhile, just behind is attacking Millington. And Duffin's got a little bit deep into Vale. Friedman's going to try and get a better run through Club. And around the outside goes Skunky. Job done for him. Skunky gets the position. Duffin still under some immense pressure here from Will Friedman. Friedman has not given up on this fight, but he just can't seem to find a way through on the Mercedes-Benz. Meanwhile, Hooper still giving Clouden a hard time, but he's not been able to do anything. Meanwhile, McGowan has brought the gap down to Carlos, so possibly McGowan changed those tyres. 9/10 of a second separating those two. So there is a fight for the final few places on the podium, and Tordok is not going to be on it. It's just which order they're going to be in. Sky is trying to stick with Hibbs, but not able to do so. Meanwhile, Freeman once again has a look at Duffin, but can't find a way through. Sooner or later, it's going to be Skunky joining the party, and the two Cam Racing boys have got close to one another. Here comes Ramsell and Millington. And here comes Ramsell up the inside of his teammate. Through he goes. Millington thinking, no, this is not my fight. You can go after Skunky and Friedman and Duffin, because Duffin is the cork in the bottle. And Friedman had a much better run through Copse there. Duffin making sure he stays to the left side. And Friedman all over the back of the Mercedes-Benz. Look at him, right on the back of that spoiler. But every time they fight, every time they push, it's just allowing Skunky and the Cam boys to chase them down. Ramsell and Millington going with Skunky to chase down Duffin, and Duffin's gone wide. He's made a mistake. Finally, Will Friedman gets the position, and Matthew Duffin cracks under the pressure. Meanwhile, McGowan has caught Carlos. Here comes Carlos and McGowan. This is for second and third in this race. And McGowan looking for an opportunity. Is there on a place up the inside? Oh, it's going to get close. Mercedes versus Porsche here. Not at this stage. Meanwhile, Duffin under some immense pressure. Now from Ramsell. Ramsell's up the inside of Skunky. Skunky has to go wide. Duffin holds the position. Skunky goes wide and makes contact with Ramsell. And Millington swoops up the inside and gets the job done. Taylor's in this as well. It's a four-way fight here. Meanwhile, McGowan is pushing Carlos as they head down towards Maggots and Beckett's. Still 9 minutes worth of racing to go. We have seen some brilliant and awesome racing from these GT4 drivers tonight. Silverstone has definitely delivered some awesome racing, and Duffin probably going to get an award for the widest Mercedes-Benz you have ever seen. Taylor right on the back of Ramsell there. Look at the Ginetta. Woo! What pace Taylor had there through Cops. So now Skunky and oh, Millington looking. Oh, for a moment then I thought Skunky was going to hit the back of Millington then, but he managed to bail out of that. Meanwhile, Matt Wright has got past Global drive through for Unsworth, so that's track limits. Meanwhile, McGowan still hasn't found a way past on Carlos. Carlos just hanging in there ahead of the Mercedes-Benz. The Porsche just doing enough at this stage. Meanwhile, we go back to this squabble. Duffin, oh, Millington gets close, but compromises his exit and can't get past Duffin. McGowan now in the tow of Carlos. Is he close enough to send up the inside? No, he's not. Carlos, though, trying his very best to be the leading MSA driver, and he's doing a fantastic job of it. But he's defending off a ruthless driver on McGowan. He never allows you to get away with a single mistake. As soon as you make that mistake, he will punish you for it. And Carlos is learning out right now. Oh, Millington's made a mistake. He's gone wide. Skunky's going to try and go all the way around side of the loop. Millington gives him a shove. Oh, and now he's his own teammate. Oh, Millington making that mistake there. Hits Ramsell, and he comes off worse there. Where is Ramsell? And now he ends up behind Taylor, and Duffin gets away with all that. Here comes Taylor, though. Duffin absolutely struggling here. Luckily, they're tripping over each other, and Duffin is able to just hang in. Oh, he's in the back. Duffin's pitting. Matthew Duffin is pitting. But once again, we go back to the front. O'Reilly, we've barely seen him because he's been leaning away comfortably, but we are on board with Carlos and McGowan. And slowly, bit by bit, as these two have been fighting, Tordok has got a little bit closer. Into Abbey, there you go, and the rest of the packs have calmed down a little bit. Taylor benefiting out of all of that as Ramsell's now onto the back of it. Right, literally just joined into the party as absolute chaos started to commence. Duffin in pit lane, and he has got going again. So is it just his tyres that died? Possibly so. But here we're still on board with Carlos and McGowan. 5 minutes left to go. 2-minute lap of race, so we're possibly looking at 3 more laps of this race. And McGowan trying to do everything he possibly can to get a P2, but he's made a mistake there. He's run wide, and into the gravel he goes, losing speed and momentum there. We've got Ramsell now being hunted by Wright, and he's also trying to chase down Taylor. Who's that pulling to one side? I believe it's Betterton. Yes, it is. So you're running order with 4.5 minutes left to go. It is O'Reilly leading the way. Second is still undecided between Carlos in second, McGowan in third, Tordok in P4, slowly bringing that gap down with Silth in P5. Clouden in P6, with Hooper in P7, Gary Leach in a quiet P8, with Hibbs in P9, Sky Schondermeyer in that 10th place. Oh my God! Sky has rolled the Porsche. He was in 10th, he's now going to drop the order. 11th is Friedman, Taylor ahead of Ramsell, 13th, 14th is Wright, Klarbel is 15th, Stardog in 16th, Johnson in 17th, 18th is Fernie, with Millington dropping behind them all. So Millington's obviously trying to recover, and he's on the back of Fernie in 19th. 20th is Old Sim Racer, Vesey 21st, Unsworth 22nd with a drive-through. Marsden in 23rd position. Archer has been caught by tipping, going up the inside for 24th and 25th. Duffin in 26th with Smith in 27th, Betterson 28th, and Marshall in 29th. We've lost Skunky, and I believe we've lost another driver as well. But McGowan looking up the inside there. But here is McGowan and Tordock. Sorry, not Tordock, it's Carlos. McGowan looking to the outside, but Tordock is there. Tordock is within reach. And looking for an opportunity here. Can McGowan? No, he's run wide once again. And Carlos holds onto the position, and they're holding each other up, because here comes Tordock. Meanwhile, Ramsell and Wright are still going at it. And here comes Wright and Ramsell. Looking to the inside is Wright, but he can't quite get far enough alongside. And down the main straight we go. Carlos still trying to defend from McGowan, but he's got reinforcements of his teammate, the MSA driver of Tordock. Not his actual teammate, but part of the group. O'Reilly, meanwhile, comfortably out in front, while these three all battle it out for the final positions. And you see a line astern as well. Schundermeyer, massive roll earlier on. Just saw it on the stream, and yeah, the car was a bit beaten after that. But once again, the two Porsches ganging up on the Mercedes-Benz. Tordock trying to look for an opportunity. Meanwhile, Wright looks like he's attacking Ramsell up towards Stowe. Ramsell's gone wide. That's enough for Wright to come up the inside, but he's going to be on the outside towards Vale. But that little Alpine is not strong enough in a straight line to get alongside. Carlos, McGowan and Tordock fighting out for second place and third for the last podium positions here. Ramsell's made a mistake. That's going to give Wright an opportunity. Oh, Ramsell's made a mistake. As O'Reilly starts his final lap. As Wright trying to find a way past on Ramsell. But O'Reilly pulling away from these four as they're back now. Carlos trying to hang in there. I'll try and get driver of the day on the screen. Oh, McGowan's hit Carlos, and through goes Tordock. And they managed to get going. Silt's going to gain onto the podium there. There's Jamal Clouden. He comes into the scene as well. Some close racing here, but O'Reilly in the end has avoided all the chaos and has come out on top here. Has been absolutely brilliant, has O'Reilly. But into the final few corners now. And out of the final corner, Kieran O'Reilly is going to make it another race win to his name. He wins the round 5 of the feature race. He takes that first place position. He finishes ahead of his championship contender, Tordok, in that P2 position, and he takes fastest lap. Sylph is going to end up in that P3 position. Carlos in P4 with Clouden in P5, McGowan P6. Hooper will finish in a P7. Gary Leach with a brilliant drive tonight. He is going to finish in P8. A brilliant drive from Gary Leach tonight. He'll be happy with that one. Will Friedman is going to come from the back of the pack all the way back up to 9th place position as he finishes in the top 10. Hibbs rounding off the top 10 as Taylor is going to come home in that 11th place position. All right, manages to get Ramsell by 36 thousandths of a second. Clubble 14th, Stardog 15th. Johnson is going to come home for that 16th place position in the other McLaren. Fernie will finish in 17th place position. Millington will come home for 18th. 19th is Old Sim Racer. 20th is Vesely. Marston is going to finish in 21st. Ahead of Unsworth, who's still fighting with Archer. So these two have got a fight going on. But it's going to be Unsworth who's going to finish ahead of Archer. Ahead of Tipping. Ahead of Smith. Ahead of Duffin. Betterson. Schundelmeyer. And Marshall at the very end there as well. But your race winner, Kieran O'Reilly, Tordok and Sylph as well. Those are your winners tonight, and a fantastic job of that as well. Been brilliant to commentate on these GT4s. It's been absolutely brilliant. Driver of the day is now up for you guys to vote on who you think is driver of the day. Now usually I do try and do the interviews, but they usually go horrifically wrong. So we're going to see if Gary Leach comes into the party. The other boys are Xbox, but it's up to Gary if he chooses to come into the party. And that has been brilliant racing. Amazing battle going backwards, Lowell says. Clarble, Chris Danes in the chat with the thinking emoji there. It is O'Reilly who is your winner. Tordok and Sylph as well. So brilliant stuff from all those guys. And like I say, I'll just give it a few more minutes and just waiting to see if the tables have also been done as well. But that has been Silverstone, ladies and gentlemen. It's been absolutely chaotic racing here. Next race of the season, we'll be heading to Kyalami, and it looks like, I believe, most of the tables are being just finished up as we speak. But it's been fast and furious nonetheless. And we look forward to the next round of the season, which is at Kyalami. So we head up to the halfway stage of the season, round 6 of the championship. And the season's going quicker than I first thought. A lot of racing still yet to come, though, with Kyalami, Imola, our first night race, then the Nürburgring, Red Bull Ring, our second night race, and Alton Park, Watkins Glen, and we finishing at home at Donington Park. So we look forward to all of that to come. But I don't think Gary's going to come in and chat to us. I believe the tables are now all up to date. So here's a rundown of the championship standings. It is O'Reilly leading away from Tordok, from Clouden, from Sylph, Friedman, Hooper, Duffin, Carlos, McGowan in 9th. 10th is Hibbs. 11th is Goudet. 12th is Wright. Skunky. No, they're not up to date. They're not up to date. So I'm I'll tell you what, for the drivers, I will obviously post them into the Discord. But for you guys, if you do want to see the result of what happened to these guys in the championships, make sure you have a look at our Instagram, our Facebook page, and our Discord as well if you want to be a part of the action. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you do not miss any of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport. Have a look at our fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sport. All that information is in the link below. But that is it for Silverstone. The home of British Motorsport has brought on some fantastic racing and some awesome racing at that. But we now head to the Pro-Ams, which will be done by Lexi. She'll be bringing you all the action on that one. And then we head to the pros with Sweet and Sticky in your box. They'll be giving you all the action on Pro Night on a Thursday night as well. I've been Dan Davis. This has been GT4s. This has been Silverstone. And we shall see you tomorrow night for the Pro-Ams. Good night.